Hey, intentional investors, it's Chris. On my channel, I teach how to get surges of income. I teach about creating impact and growing your influence. And if it's your first time watching, please consider subscribing to my channel. I'd love to be able to pour into you and mentor you. And today we're going to talk about something really cool. It's called my buy box. I call it the Fab Five. And my Fab Five is exactly what would have to be true for me to be interested in buying a business. And what we're going to go over is why I buy businesses, my style of buying businesses, because yes, there's lots of different styles, and then exactly what my buy box is. What is that Fab Five? So Fab Five, I made this up several years ago after being in lots of masterminds, doing business deals. I really learned about what I like and what I don't like. So I use the experiences of what I've done in business, and I've been able to mold around what I like and what I don't like to say what would have to be true for me to be interested in buying this business, right? Or partnering in this business. And I want to teach you that today. But the first thing we got to talk about is what would have to be true. It's such a great question. My mentor, my buddy for a long time, Clayton, who taught me that. He said, what would have to be true is such a great statement that you could say instead of saying no or I can't. Whenever you find yourself saying I can't do that, or like that's not going to work, stop and say, what would have to be true for this to work? So using it in this context for my buy box, I developed my Fab Five around what would have to be true for me to be interested. We'll go over that in just a second, so don't leave this video. To start with, we're going to talk about why would I buy a business? Well, I like to buy businesses because businesses that have already been in operation for a long time have customers and reputation and people and processes, compared to going and starting a business from scratch, which I've done a couple different times. We have to go create all of that. We got to go create the reputation. We got to go hire the employees. We've got to go create the SOPs and the processes. We got to go recruit and pay marketing and put sales efforts into finding the customers, compared to buying a business that's already survived that period of 96% attrition over 10 years. We can buy one of the 4% that survives. We can buy these businesses that already have the reputation, the customers, the processes, the people, the SOPs, right? It's a much better way of doing it. And after starting a couple businesses and going through that grind, a couple of them took me several years to even get paid on it as the owner, compared to jumping into a business that's already cash flowing from day one. It's a no-brainer. And as you know, I am the COO and part owner of Dealmaker Wealth Society with really business acquisition, world-renowned guru Carl Allen's my partner. And yeah, he's taught me this stuff. And yes, we're doing it. I'm on the way to a seller meeting right now in Atlanta to look at another entertainment business. This is absolutely real, but that's why I like to buy businesses. Next, I want to tell you about what type of businesses do I like to buy, and then we'll go into the buy box specifically. But the type of deals that I like to do are consulting for equity deals, or I like leverage buyouts, specifically focused around buying businesses, using the business as capital, right? And using the business as collateral, or any business that has like cash flow in the business, using that instead of using my own money to buy it. When we do consulting for equity, I'm really good at business growth. I'm really good at business strategy, marketing, sales. So I'd like to take what I'm able to do and plug it into a business that needs what I do to be able to grow. And it's so natural for me. It's not thrashing for me to go into a business that needs what I do and just do the same thing I do every single day. Compared to when you go in and try to provide some sort of value to a business that's different from your day-to-day focus, it can be a lot of thrashing. For me, I grow businesses for a living. So for me to hop into a business, take it on as a partner and get equity in that business and grow it, it's pretty natural. That's what I like to do. And I like to have that cash flow. I like to have lots and lots of revenue coming from different businesses. So it's a great avenue for me. And then lastly, let's talk about my Fab Five. So my Fab Five is high ticket, high margin, extremely easy to target, nationwide to worldwide audience. And I like people to feel a 10x satisfaction rate on what they spent. They feel like they would have paid 10 times more because there's that much value. So that's what would have to be true for me to really dive all in and be a part of a business on a high level, something like a Dealmaker Wealth Society. And the reason why I have all this criteria is because of my experiences. I don't like to work in low margin businesses where I have to sell tons of volume because it's a low profit margin to make any money. I like to sell a lot less for high margin. Number two, I don't really like low ticket. I don't like to sell lots and lots and lots of different units or widgets or whatever and have that volume play once again. I'd like to have something that's much more expensive, that high average transaction value with also a high profit margin. Number three, as a marketer, I can't stand having to go after an audience that's really, really difficult to target, or an audience that's really, really small, nationwide or worldwide. Even if it's still real small and real niche, it can be difficult and it can be expensive to target that traffic. And I'd rather go after large audiences, 10, 15, 20, 150 million perfect customers in the world. It allows my traffic costs. When I say traffic, I mean buying traffic, like media buy, Facebook ads, Google ads, YouTube ads. I want my traffic cost to be much lower because I have a much larger audience, and it just makes the math work so much better. If it costs too much money to get in front of a customer, it's going to cost too much money to acquire a customer, and I have to be able to keep my cost per acquisition low enough for me to be able to keep that as a high margin business. Then lastly, I like to be able to sleep at night knowing that we're doing really, really, really good work. And for me to do that, I need to sell something with integrity. I need to sell a service or a product that people feel like, wow, I would have paid 10 times more for this than what I paid. These guys are amazing. So that's my Fab 5: high ticket, high margin, nationwide or worldwide audience, extremely easy to target, and people feel like they would have paid 10 times more than what they did because of the value they received. So I've got a question for you. What's your buy box? What's your Fab 5? I challenge you to go out and think about that. Say, what would have to be true for me to be interested in buying this business? Look at your past experiences, look about what you like, what you don't like, and go develop your buy box. I'm telling you, having clarity right from the very beginning of what you're searching for makes the entire journey much more enjoyable, easier, and more fulfilling.